Alrighty, happy Tuesday everybody, how we doing? Welcome back to the Build a Better Back virtual class. This is number 6. So, running a couple minutes behind, I apologize. Just finished up with in-person session. So I will, hey Mary Lou, how you doing this morning? I will transition that right into our little PSA for the day here, and then I got a couple other important items to address, important in quotes. So for those of you that have been on the virtual Build a Better Back class, thank you so much. First of all, we're going to keep doing this every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 a.m. It's going to be completely free and available. You can always come back and catch the replay on our page, and then I am a touch behind, but we'll be uploading these to our YouTube page as well, and then I'll be putting them all together in one big spreadsheet so that you can kind of follow the sequential order as well, and I'll have that out for everybody at some point. So, but we are doing in-person sessions this week and still doing virtual digital PT as well. So if you are having issues or struggling because of the changes that are happening with our lifestyle, which we are getting numerous calls, and I do not have any slots available other than Wednesday afternoon yet for this week, unfortunately, because a lot of people are struggling with the change in lifestyle. So if that is you and you want to get in here, we are open, we are doing in-person sessions, but we are continuing the virtual PT, digital PT sessions as well. So just reach out to me. People, you know, the common things have been a little bit more sitting on kitchen chairs that they're not used to on their laptop, starting to get outside and run a little bit more, which they're not necessarily used to being forced outside on the pavement, and so that's causing some Achilles issues and some hip issues, some knee issues. Other people have just not been sleeping as good, and they're having an issue with kind of overall body aches and pains. So if you fall in any of those buckets or beyond, certainly let me know. Don't hesitate, reach out. You're more than welcome to hop on a free discovery session virtually or in person with us if you're new. So with that being said, that's topic number 1. Topic number 2 is, what the heck am I going to do with my hair? So the poll today, if you will, is if you're on live or you're catching replay, should I self-cut the hair because I'm starting to turn into a little bit of a chia pet, or should we let it grow and really see what the heck happens? It's been a little while since I've let things blossom, so to speak, too much, and you might see a little bit more gray. So that's kind of the poll topic for today. If you're on live or you're on replay, let me know. Should we go with the self-cut or should we let it grow? And then topic number 3, let me know if you're having any challenges with anything that we do in the class. This is not necessarily meant to replace, the disclaimer here, not meant to replace any medical diagnoses or give you a specific cure or action plan for any specific diagnoses. So make sure that you keep that in mind, and if you are having issues, we have multiple options to get you in here and get you doing better. Or if you have somebody that you know, like, and trust and you're already working with, make sure you get in to see them if you're having any specific issues with things that we do in here. General tightness, stiffness, whatnot, that's going to be normal, but if you're having really hard time doing anything because of it, make sure you get that evaluated and checked out. Mary Lou says, never smart to self-cut. Yeah, that's probably true, but who says I've ever been smart? So certainly not me. But anyways, let's get going with our warm-up here. Make sure you guys hop on, let us know how you're doing, team live or team replay, all right? And I'll come back and check on comments and who's all joining us here. All right, so a lot of this stuff does not get drastically different or change, but you do. So week to week, we might be a little bit different here. Let's start with our high knee warm-up, pumping the opposite arm. Again, simple movements, but let's be very intention-based about how we do these things. So on the stance leg, make sure you squeeze the cheek, right? So on my stance leg, I'm really tightening up my cheek, and I'm driving that knee high, and I'm pausing at the top. I'm also really doing my best to not get tippy side to side as I pause in that single leg stance. So how square can you keep your hips and your shoulders as we get driving here? Hope everybody's doing well and had a good Easter. Certainly different times, of course. Good, let's switch it up. Let's go into a little bit of a mini forward lunge, and then we're going to helicopter the arms over the leg that's forward. So we'll get a little bit bigger, not hugging ourselves anymore. You can still go back to that if you want. But we're going to helicopter the arms each direction just to get a little bit of extra work in the shoulders and a little bit bigger lever arm for rotation. So yeah, hope everybody had a great Easter. We, all things considered, we certainly did. I don't think we could have crammed in any more Easter egg hunts or surprises or jelly beans or hard-boiled egg fights in a span of 24 hours than we did, so we maxed out the fun for the kids. Good, all right? Now, we're going to go opposite, so we're going to keep ourselves stable up top. Now what we're going to do is a little tap out and then a big sweep up and over. Good. With your warm-up, certainly we're just trying to get things moving, trying to get the heart rate up, but you can get a little bit more challenging with your movements if you want. You can progress your movements. So try to take that sweeping angle a little bit bigger, make that arc a little bit bigger, and try to tap out a little bit wider. Okay? So you have to transition your weight a little bit more. Again, the goal with this one always being keep the shoulders straight forward and rotate your pelvis underneath those square shoulders. Good, switch sides. A little off balance today, so bear with me here. I don't know what the heck that's about. Maybe a crummy night of sleep. Maybe still frustrated over realizing that I wasted 7 hours of my life watching Tiger King. So what's good? What's everybody else got going on? Hopefully we are continuing to focus on our Morgan Freeman moment. If you weren't with us early on, let's see who's on here. So I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties with my my mouse, so if I'm missing any comments or anything today, I apologize. Let's go side lunge, all right? So side lunge, we're going to step straight sideways, slight bend in the knee, hips kick back, okay? If you have space at home, you can start doing this kind of one into the next, right? So you can get here, come together, get here, come together, or if you got just a little bit of space, you can certainly work side to side. Just gets a little bit more exciting, you know? We're moving sideways, it's getting more exciting now. Got to be happy with the little things nowadays, the simple things. Good, I'll show you from the side. Again, hips go back, spine stays neutral, slight bend in the knee. Get about 3 more each direction. Never good to self-cut, Mary Lou. I think that sounds like a challenge. I do think that sounds like a challenge. Switch sides. I figure, worst case scenario, if I try to match my current style and it goes completely to pot, I can just go buzz cut, which might not look great, but then at least you wouldn't see my grays as much Good. Neutral spine, hips going back, sitting on that kid's bar stool, right? Hope everybody's doing well. Appreciate you joining us. So we got on Leah. How you doing? Thanks for hopping on. All right. So find some wall, okay? Find some wall, find some open space. What we're working on here, we're getting some body weight into the arms and we're driving the knee up and across, right? Really trying to flex up as high as we can and get our pelvis turning. So you brace yourself on the wall, get a little bit of an angle like you're going to do a wall push-up, and then you drive that knee up and across. Try to keep the shoulders square. We're just getting hips, lower body, back warmed up a little bit more here. You can alternate sides, or you can do all 5 or 6 to one side. Good. Let's work T's on the wall. All right, this time, arms slide up, other arm comes through. We're rotating the spine, but we're keeping the hips mostly straight forward. So one arm comes up, we're leaning into the wall yet. Other arm comes through. Thread the needle through. Feel a nice upper back stretch. Trying to keep the hips mostly square. Get your leverage from the wall. Good. Very, very good. So that's a pretty complete warm-up there. Hopefully everybody is doing well. Thanks for joining us today. And unfortunately it's not letting me know who's all on, which kind of stinks, but hey, what are you going to do? Here we go. We're going to warm up a little bit more. So we're kind of warm now, but we're going to take some time on the ground. Focus on some hip mobility. So get the feet nice and wide, okay? We're going to drop the knees down to one side. Working side to side here. So we'll show you some progressions today on the windshield wiper. All right, it is going to be a hip mobility type week. Again, there was a point in time when we got on this big tangent of sitting being the new devil, right? I think the saying was sitting is the new smoking, which I kind of understand, I get, but the problem is we don't really have any hard research to back that sitting itself is bad for you. The problem with sitting is that it prevents us from moving, I guess is the point. So it's not the sitting itself that's the problem. It's the fact that when we're sitting, we're less likely to get up and move or move in certain ways. And so that lack of movement and that lack of variability in movement is really what causes the problem. It's not the postural issues with sitting like everybody and their brother wants you to believe. It's more the fact that sitting leaves us without movement and without variability of movement. So a lot of the hip mobility stuff, we're going to cross the right ankle over the knee. A lot of the variability, or a lot of the hip mobility stuff is designed to kind of counter effect what sitting does to us, which is just more sitting equals less movement and less movement variability. So it's not as bad and scary as they want you to believe about being in a seated posture, but it does create us to get into a spot where we don't move as much. Because an object at rest stays at rest. An object in movement usually stays in movement. So right ankle over the left knee, we're going to work side to side. Might feel a couple nice snap, crackles, and pops in the low back, in the mid back here. Use the weight of the leg and gravity to pull down. Good, let's switch sides. Work the opposite. So anybody that's joining us for the first time or has not heard my spiel on this class is kind of about exploring movement, making sure that we understand, are we mobile where we are designed to be mobile? Are we strong and stable where we should be? But beyond that, it's kind of about getting your body accustomed to thoughtless, fearless movement and being able to get in some of these positions without feeling super guarded. We want our core, right? If you talk about core work, we want our core to be able to both transfer energy from our legs to our arms and our arms to our legs, but we also want the core and the spine to be able to go through full ranges of motion without load and with load, right? That's a good healthy back. So that is what we're building for. Join us every Tuesday, Thursday, 9 a.m. Here we go, progression. Getting up onto the hands, all right? Now it's like we're on the floor watching TV. We're propped up onto our hands a little bit. I still got my feet slightly wider than shoulder width. And now from here, I'm going to start working knees side to side, windshield wiping side to side. All right, it is going to be a hip mobility kind of day here. So what's everybody got on the docket for this Tuesday? It's a beautiful day out there. At least the sun's shining, so it's beautiful in here. Sad to say, starting to run out of movies to watch with the kids. Do a family movie night just about every night. We really try to limit the screen time during the day and then get a little bit more liberal at night with the screen time and watch a movie. But there's only so many movies out there that the kids haven't seen yet or don't know every line to yet. So good. Now, a little bit of a flow here. All right, now this is pretty fun. So if I take my knees to my right, okay, this is my right. All right, I'm going to take my right hand's going to stay put. My left hand is going to wrap in front of my shin, and I'm going to drop my chest down towards that knee. I should feel a nice deep buttock stretch on my right side. Now I'm going to come up tall. If I'm able, I'm going to try to twist my body to my left. But I'm keeping my knees in that 90-90 position. Good. And then fall back onto the hands, reverse up and over the other way. Knees drop. Now my right hand comes in front of my left shin. I get that chest, sternum down towards my left knee. Breathe. Come up tall. Staying hips, knees in the same position. Try to twist to your right. Good, and then fall back. Let's work a couple more each direction here. So, hip mobility, right? We're getting good at taking our body through different ranges while the hips are in these dynamic positions. And anytime we can actively get into different ranges, that is the equivalent of hitting the save button on our mobility, right? If we just always rely on straps and bands and somebody else stretching us and gravity, you get end range, but you don't necessarily hit save on that end range as much. So we're starting to get a little bit more challenging, a little bit more active. Golfers out there, pay attention. Rotational people, pay attention. People with backs aren't that happy. Pay attention. Good. Very good. All right. Let's work back onto our back here. So we're going to work on a little bit of the opposite now. We're going to go bridge work and work on the glutes a little bit. So feet about shoulder width. We're going to bring the hands up together towards the sky. That's the challenging part. If you're not able to do that comfortably, bring your hands down to your side. But we're going to work up. Hips come up off the ground. I'm going to do 2 short, choppy steps out away from me. And then 2 short, choppy steps back. All right? The goal is to try to keep the hips high and to prevent them from getting too wobbly there. So we're just trying to stay under control. My feet should be quiet and move in a controlled fashion. And what we'll find here is that we're really starting to work this back side of the body. The back, the hips, the hamstrings are all getting some good work there. Alternate which foot goes first. Again, if your back is really struggling with this or you're having a hard time, bring your hands down to the side. That'll give you a little extra support up top to still do the exercise but challenge yourself a little bit differently. Now, back strain here is not necessarily a bad thing, right? We don't want pain or symptoms, but the back should be working a little bit to kind of stabilize things here. Nobody ever said that your back muscles shouldn't be working if you have back pain. Probably a little bit of the opposite. But it's got to be the right amount of work. Not too much, not too little. We'll get two more, one on starting on each side here. Uh-oh, I lost count. All right, good. Good, rest. Shake anything out that you need to. You can take both knees to our chest, give them a little hug. Just kind of rock the egg side to side a little bit. Good. Now, if you have a foam roller at your disposal. Hey Chris, how's it going, buddy? Thanks for hopping on. If you have a foam roller at your disposal, we're going to use the foam roller and work on our dead bug type progressions here. If you don't have a foam roller, do not worry. You can do the exact same thing without it, okay? But what we're going to do is we're going to get the length of the foam roller. We're going to have our tailbone, our mid-back, and our head all supported, hopefully. And then with this one, we're going to keep our hands down to the side. Now, you can go fingertips, you can go hands, or you can go full arms to help you stabilize. But what we're going to work on here is just a single leg march, all right? So I'm going to go fingertips for just the right amount of challenge. I'm going to go one leg at a time. Now, the key part to focus on is the slow lowering down, right? And try to keep your back in the exact same position that it's starting as you lower that leg down. So in the lower back, there shouldn't be a whole lot of movement. I'm not asking you to keep the lower back flat necessarily, but there shouldn't be a ton of movement in that low back just because we're marching the leg up and slowly lowering it down. Fingertips, again, really gives you very little support up top, forces the trunk muscles and some of the other parts in the brain to tell you where you are in space to do the work for you. Good. Now, as one leg comes down, the other leg goes up. So there's a point in time when both legs are off the ground. Now it's more of the bicycle riding. Good. If you don't have a foam roller, right, do the same thing. Just bring your hands up towards the sky, and you can work from here. All right. Now you could even, as one leg goes down, you can take one arm up, and you're starting to do this sort of a movement, right? A little tougher on the foam roller here. Make sure you're breathing. Just a light tap with the foot, slow lower down. Should start to feel those lower abdominals working pretty good. We're also getting some good work in the hip flexors here as well. Good, let's just rest for a second. Shake anything out that you need to. If you're hopping on, middle of class here, appreciate you joining us. Don't be afraid to hop right in or catch the replay on the page or our YouTube channel. Notice our physical therapy. Here we go. Both feet up. Okay? Now, one foot stays up while the other one comes down. The next progression from hands down, if you wanted to make it even harder, you get close to a wall and put your hands up on the wall. Right? That's a really good challenge as well. And of course, the progression from there would be no support with the arms. So one leg stays up while the other leg goes down. Now we really have minimal contact with the feet with the ground. Good, let's give it a shot. No hands. Come on. Who can outbest me here? Woo! Oh, that's tough. That's tough. We'll work on that. We'll work on that. Good. Carefully roll off the foam roller. Work onto your side. Who else we got with us? Trisha, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for joining. Love seeing people come on. Even if you just pop on to say hi, I won't make you feel that guilty for leaving. So, really quick, work on our side progressions here, okay? A little bit of rotation. Open book. Take the top knee on the foam roller, on your pillow, on your football, whatever you got at home. Top knee, we're going to open that top half of the body. Knee stays in contact with the foam roller. Breathe. Close the book back up. We're just going to get a couple here. So, will my haircut happen before Thursday? That's the next question. Got a little bit of time this afternoon with the kids. Tomorrow's pretty full. Yeah, we'll see. You guys might be able to get a good laugh on Thursday if you tune in. Maybe that would be my marketing ploy for Thursday. See how Eric does cutting his own hair. Good. Take your bottom hand, bring it on top of the knee. Open the top half, lift the knee up into your hand. So I'm trying to take this knee and lift it towards the ceiling, only lifting it about 1 inch off the foam roller, and then I'm fighting my own resistance with my hand. Relax, and then close the book back up. Now we get a nice touch of separation here. Good. Good, now relax this back, just let this stay put. Now when we open the book, last thing here, open the book, that bottom leg that's straight, trying to lift that up off the ground, okay? Get that nice rotation in the upper body, and then activate that inner thigh. And get those adductor groin muscles engaged, often overlooked, underrated muscles for helping out movement and helping out the pelvis and the core. I don't know about you, but that just gives me a nice feeling in the back too. Activate that. Oh, that feels good in the back. Beautiful. And switch sides. Switch sides. Let me knock this side out, then I'll pop on. Here we go. Open book the opposite way. Taking stock, and if one side feels drastically different than the other at all, got a little extra flavor here. You can kind of get the shoulder involved by taking that arm and doing more of a windmill up and over. Right? Sometimes that gets a little bit more mobility through the shoulder. Some people that doesn't always agree with the shoulder, so ease into that one. Could also take the hand behind the neck and try to just open from there. That gives you a little bit more rotation at the shoulder as well. This is the old sprinkler dance move here. Anybody knows what I'm talking about there. Good. Take the hand, top of the knee, open up. Now try to lift that knee up towards the ceiling, playing tug of war with yourself, breathe, relax, relax. Open up, lift the top knee, tug of war, good. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Good, now relax this hand. Once we open the top half of the book, that bottom leg that's straight, we're lifting up towards the ceiling. And closing the book back down. Open the book, lift the bottom leg, down. Well, my kids are quote unquote on spring break this week. I haven't seen any commentary or quotes from my wife telling me to say hi to my kids, so apparently they're sloughing off on their exercise and their low back class today, which Dad does not approve of, even if it's spring break. But maybe they just forgot, or maybe they're still sleeping. I'd be out there. Good, beautiful. Take a second, shake anything out that you need to. We're going to work on the hands and knees. Hope everybody's doing well. Again, I am not able to use my mouse for some strange reason, so hopefully everybody's doing well here. Thanks for joining us. About at the halfway point, maybe a little bit over. So, hands and knees. All right, we said it's going to be a hip mobility kind of day. So, what that means is we got to do hip circles, okay? You're going to hear me with the same material. I apologize, but at some point maybe it'll get better. This is what we call a controlled articular rotation. We're taking that ball and socket joint of the hip and we're trying to take it through its biggest, most controlled range of motion possible, all the way around. So I got my knee bent about 90 degrees. I'm driving my knee up towards my chest as far as I can. I'm sweeping it out to the side all the way. I'm trying to keep my low back nice and stable. Flip my foot up towards the sky, foot to the ceiling, and then come on down slowly. Now my joke was, if you're at your virtual happy hour this week, your virtual dinner party, people have been asking what you're up to. Don't say nothing. Don't say I haven't been up to nothing. Say I've been doing controlled articular rotations. And they'll be like, what? Who's your physical therapist? He's awesome. He must be really smart. Right? But CARs, controlled articular rotations, you can do these at the hip, you can do these at the shoulder, you can do these at the ankle, you can do these at the wrist, do these at the neck. It's not rocket science. It's taking joints that are meant to move in a lot of directions, taking them through their biggest possible range of motion, having your muscles control it so that you are actually owning that range of motion. You're not just relying on something else to do it for you. And if you do it well, do it consistently, you might get that Brazilian butt lift that you're looking for summer. So boom, right there, right? Squeeze the cheek, sweep it out to the side. Right there, that's gluteus. Dog peed on a fire hydrant, coming back up and around. Good. Give me 2 more each way here. Slow and controlled. Slow and steady wins the race. Should notice the hip on the kneeling side is doing some work to stabilize as well. If you're doing this properly, you'll certainly feel the hip that's moving, but you'll also feel that hip that's down stabilizing the body. Okay, just an awesome, awesome exercise to get really good at. You can do this on your side, you can do this on your back. Those would probably be the good places to start if you haven't done these before. Get really good at that pattern. And then work hands and knees, then standing. Let's see, we got a comment here. We got a comment here. That always gets me so exciting. Oh no, groan. Yeah, sorry, Mary Lou. Hip circles. Everybody's favorite. Okay, everybody's favorite. So now, got a little bit of a new one here. So we're going to start on all fours, hands and knees. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my, how can I show you this best here? All right. I'm going to take my right foot and I'm just going to walk it in a little bit. Okay. So I'm just rotating my hip and bringing my right foot in a little bit, so that that shin or that leg is kind of angled inward. All right. What we're going to work on here is a transition exercise where I go from 4 points of contact here up onto my side and then close it back down. All right. So it's as simple as walking my right foot in a little bit to give me a little bit better base of support, and then all I'm going to work on is just transitioning onto that side. So I'm trying to get 2 points of contact, my right hand and my right knee, and then I'm trying to open my shoulders and my hips to the left. Now, if all you can do is just a little bit of a shift and a slight open, that's fine. But the goal is to try to open, stabilize, and then close back down. So I'll show you here from this side so you can kind of see what we're talking about. So I got right foot, I'm walking it in a little bit. Now I'm going from here, and I'm going open and close. Okay? So you get a fair amount of work through the shoulder, a fair amount of work through the hip, and a little bit through the core to open as well. Give me 2 more here. Good. Now, what we got to do, we got to come up with a name for this one. I have no idea. Just playing around with some movements, and figured out I like this one quite a bit. I'll show you from this side here on the left. We're going to switch sides. But what I don't have is a name. So you can widen that knee out a little bit, walk the left foot in. Now we're working, opening up on the left. If all you got is right here, that's fine, okay? But we're working, exploring some different movements here. Also notice if you're better on one side versus the other, okay? This is a phenomenal balance exercise. Nobody ever said that balance exercises have to be, whoa, there we go, see? Nobody ever said balance exercises have to be standing on one leg and, standing on unstable surfaces. This is a great challenge to the hip and the core and the brain to open things up, close it back down. Good, very good. Nice work, beautiful job. Tried something new today, all right? Mark that off in the journal as, regardless of how it went, tried something new, something to get better at. Let's work on a little bit of child's pose. Dropping the head and chest down. Decompressing the low back. Let's take our left arm, thread the needle through, drop your shoulder and ear down if you can. Big breath. Good. Switch sides. Thread the right arm underneath and through. Drop your right ear and shoulder down. Breathe. Try to keep those hips back on the heels. Good. Come up tall, walk the hands forward slightly. Let's drop into a little bit of hip extension now. You can get the gaze up towards the sky if you want. Straight ahead if it's better for your neck. Breathe. You can even do a couple tightening of the cheeks here while we're in this position just to change the dynamics. Let the lower back and pelvis sag, but still kind of engage the cheeks a little bit. Squeeze the buns. Good. Let's just get a little bit of a flow where we're working forward and back here. breath in each position. One more each way. Hope everybody's doing well. Having any problems or issues with anything? Make sure you type into the comments or reach out to me directly. This class is not meant to diagnose or specifically fix any issues. Help you get moving better, get rid of any tightness, any aches. If you got something that's really nasty, it's not agreeing with you, let me know. Good. Very, very good. All right. Come on up to kneeling. Okay? Got a few minutes left here, so I'm going to throw you right into it with the kneeling. So I got my right knee down. I'm going to give myself a hug. What I'm going to work on is these short, choppy walks out. Okay? So I'm trying to keep my shoulders square and straight forward, but I've taken short, choppy walks with the left foot out and then all the way back to square. Make sure you have some good padding under that right knee. And we're just trying to short, choppy walks. Notice how as I move, I'm really trying to prevent excessive movement up top. The reason that's happening, hopefully for me and for the rest of us, is I got my cheek engaged, good and solid, helping me support there. Good, okay. Go ahead and switch sides. Right foot forward. Lock that left cheek in place. Short choppy steps out. Opening the hip, keeping the shoulders straight forward. Short choppy steps back in. Open back up. So all sorts of variations you got from here, right? If you want, you can make the steps last a little bit longer, right? You can make the movement happen where every time you turn the shoulders a little bit away. So we're just exploring movement here. Now as I walk in, I can turn my shoulders towards, do all sorts of different movements here. Good. All right, very, very good. Now, really quickly, all right, we're going to go back to hands and knees. We're going to walk one foot out, step 1 foot out, open up towards the sky, come back down, come up tall, down, reverse back, all fours. Now the left foot comes out, trying to get it to the side, open, down, come up tall, stabilize, back down. Give me one more on each side here. Just putting it all together for you. Again, hip mobility, right? Some phenomenal hip mobility happening here. Good. One more on each side. Good. Take a minute, sit back on the heels, shake anything out that you need to. We're going to work up to standing to finish up for today. Let's see. Hey Scott, Shuby, how you guys doing? Great to see you. Thanks for hopping on, finishing up class here. Join us. Got some good stuff coming up. So, let's get right into it. All right, grab your golf club, your broomstick, your PVC, whatever you got here, and we're going to run it up and down the length of our spine. So we got tailbone, mid back, and head all touching, okay? And we're going to go right into our first pattern with one knee bent, slightly bent, all my weight going onto my, I'll show you from here, all my weight going onto my left leg. I'm going to teeter-totter forward, kick that right leg back, and then come up tall, okay? So we're keeping a soft knee, but we're not bending it any further. Coming out and up tall. Trunk and that trail leg should stay almost in the same plane. You should feel right now my stance leg is my left leg. I should feel my left glute and hamstring doing the majority of the work. The point of the dowel is to help me keep my spine neutral in that same plane. Once you feel like you got that down, you can release and bring your object in front. Kind of start using that as a reaching technique or counterbalance technique. Good, let's switch sides. Over to the right side. Soft knee. Okay, we're going to lean forward with the body. Right knee is soft, slightly bent as my trunk falls forward. Oh boy. My trunk falls forward, my right leg goes back in line with me. Always notice a little bit of difference on this one for me. Right side versus left, something I got to be working on. Okay, I'm either not as stable on my right, or I got a little bit more of a restriction somewhere, which, if only I knew somebody who could figure that out for me. Whew, I'm all over the place here, I apologize. Good, one more. Good, okay. Now for those that are really, really good at that, all right, the progression would become taking some weight, all right, we'll get into this, but taking some weight in the opposite hand, right? And now you got that weight, my left leg's fixed, my right hand has the weight, and I'm holding that here, and then the next progression, which we'll get into eventually, will be forward, and then a little bit of a row there, okay? Now the other progression, take your object for balance, hold it in the right hand, left foot stays fixed, I'm doing my teeter-totter forward, and then I'm coming up, I'm driving the knee high, and I'm squeezing the cheek on my stance leg. And I'm just transitioning to and fro here. Really squeezing the cheek at the top, locking it out. You're using this for balance, just so that you can stay weight bearing on that right side the whole time. This is just more of a glute and ham burner more than it is a balance drill. Good, switch sides. Dowel's in my left hand, right leg is fixed, teeter-totter forward, soft knee, now squeezing the right cheek as I drive that left knee high. Teeter-totter forward, squeeze that cheek at the top. Controlled, right, but a little bit of tempo here, one into the next. It's always interesting watching yourself do these things on TV. Sometimes it looks a lot different than it feels. I got to work on that hip mobility right there. I kind of want to get here, right? I got to work on getting that left hip a little bit more mobile. Good, beautiful. All right, now, so when we're standing, we want to work on all planes of motion we got here. Okay, so really briefly before we finish class today, I'm going to show you. No, that's not a shower curtain. It's my storage unit. I apologize, but I'm going to show you some anti-rotation drills that you can do at home, especially if you don't have bands. Now, anti-rotation drills are really, really good for getting us out of the normal forward back plane of movement. It's really good for helping us use some of the rotational core muscles, the obliques, the rib muscles, you know, some of these different things, that the glutes, the hips. So what you want to do, you want to find a door jamb or the angle of a wall here, the edge of a wall. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line myself up so that my my right shoulder is kind of in line with the edge of this wall. Now my positioning, if you can see here, my positioning is soft knees, hips back, kind of an athletic stance, almost like we're doing that hip hinge, right? So my hips go back, my knees are soft. Now I line myself up with the wall, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to find this position, and then I'm going to take my hands, and I'm essentially trying to press myself into the wall. 3, 4, 5, relax, and come up out of it, okay? So I'm imagining that I'm trying to take my hands and rotate my trunk into that wall, like I'm trying to knock that wall over with that rotation force, but obviously nothing's moving. So I'm getting that force working through my body. So hips back, soft knees, press, try to rotate. 3, 4, 5, good, relax. Back, press, try to rotate. 3, 4, 5. Give me 2 more. Hips back, soft knees, rotate. 3, 4, 5, good. 1 more, press, rotate. 3, 4, 5, beautiful. So we're working isometric strength here, really good starting point to work on that rotational strength. We got to have this. It doesn't matter if you're a rotational athlete or not. It's really important that you get good with working all planes of movement. So here now I'll show you the back side. Hips go back, soft knees, pressing the hands into the wall, go. 2, 3, 4, 5, good, relax. And on, 2, 3, 4, 5, good. You can use as much pressure, as little as you want. Back, go. 2, 3, 4, 5. 50-60% effort at a minimum is ideal. 2, 3, 4, 5, good. 2 more. Hips back, knees soft. 2, 3, 4, 5, good. And last one, go. 2, 3, 4, 5, beautiful. Nice job, everybody. Excellent work. So, key thing to pay attention to there is the hips and the abdominals a little bit, sides a little bit, shoulders for sure, right? Those are what should be doing the work there. If you feel it in your low back, then we probably don't have the right form, or something's not quite right there yet. So that is an excellent class today. Make sure you focus on some box breathing, right? Some diaphragmatic breathing to finish up here. The other classes we went over it. I'm going to let you take that time on your own today. But a quick reminder, if you don't know what we're talking about, you get on your back, get your feet elevated, get your knees up, whatever you got to do. Knees bent, feet flat is fine. Take one hand over the sternum, one hand over the belly button, and what you're doing for breathing is you're trying to take air in by only moving the belly button hand, and then blow air out, only moving the belly button hand. This hand up at the sternum stays quiet and doesn't move. Now we take air in and out in what we call a box pattern. So you take air in for 4 seconds, you hold at the top for 4 seconds, you blow air out for 4 seconds, and then you hold at the bottom for 4 seconds. So keep that pattern, right? 4, 4, 4, 4, where you're really concentrating on just the diaphragm and the abdomen moving and not the hands. And you're going to really bring yourself back down to a nice relaxed state. You're going to turn your own radio dials down. A phenomenal strategy to use when you're feeling a little anxious and a little bit scared about everything that's happening, or just to help you fall asleep at night or get back to sleep. It's a very common strategy that a lot of the meditation apps and a lot of people are going to use, but I love it as a recovery tool just to kind of bring things back down at the end. I even love it as a strategy just to help alleviate back pain, because if we can reduce that tension and that guarding in the back, that usually helps us feel a little bit better, right? So, phenomenal class today. Appreciate everybody that joined us. We're going to be here every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 a.m. roughly, assuming that technology works and that I don't have to go and find a hat to cover up the self-haircut that I might give myself. But Mary Lou laid down the gauntlet. She gave me a challenge, said never smart to self-cut. And I've never claimed that I was ever smart, so I guess I'm going to take that as a challenge. We'll see if that happens before Thursday or not. All right. So, great class. last little PSA here before I get my next person rolling. I always try to leave with something that I've learned that maybe other people could benefit from. And there's kind of the aspect out there of the work-life balance, right? Work-life balance, work-life balance. I don't really think that exists. I think it's kind of BS. But I did read about something called the P/PC model, which is all of us have a certain amount of productivity that we have in us, and all of us have a certain amount of productivity capacity that we have in us. So really the goal should be, regardless if it's work, if it's family, if it's life, if it's a craft, right? You want to be able to produce while you can, but you're only going to be able to produce if you keep the capacity to produce. So when we talk about balance, work-life balance, I don't really know if that exists, but in all ways, you should make sure that you have some sort of balance, that you're focusing on your capacity to do things and then actually doing the things. And this class falls in the bucket of giving you the capacity to do things, right? So this is something for yourself that is going to help you become more resilient and have a bigger capacity to do the gardening, to do your sport or exercise. So focusing on the things that give you capacity to produce, but then also making sure that you're producing is really what I'm learning about. And I think it's a good way to view maybe the work-life balance, or am I doing too much or too little during this time? Stop beating yourself up. Focus as much as you can on investing in yourself and giving yourself the capacity to produce things, whatever that is. Produce love for your family, produce at work, produce for yourself in your craft. But then don't be afraid to actually produce and do the thing as well. If all you do is read and read and read, or work on your skill, but you're not actually out there and doing it, what's the point? All right, so hopefully that made sense. But it's the productivity to productivity capacity scale that we're trying to keep a pretty solid balance between those two things. If all you're doing is producing and working and going crazy, but never giving yourself time, you're going to burn out, and that's not good for anybody. If you're so focused on building a capacity to where you're always focusing on yourself and you're learning and you're too relaxed and too comfortable, and you don't produce, you don't put yourself out there, that doesn't really do you much good either. So hopefully that makes some sense. That is my my PSA for the day. Deb sent a photo to Eric Wallace of my cat. Oh, I cannot wait to see that, Deb. Appreciate it. I've talked about doing a pets of virtual health series, because all my virtual health calls and in the classes, the pets always seem to want to get involved, and they're certainly a highlight of the time together. So gotta love the pets. They're keeping us sane during this time, I'm sure, and appreciate it, Deb. Thanks for hopping on. Hope all is well this week, and I'll be reaching out to you as well. So thanks everybody. Have a great Tuesday. Hope you had a happy Easter, and I'm gonna stop rambling now. Thank you.